You're listening to Tech Talks, the new podcast from Broadcast Tech. My name's Jake Bickerton, and I'm the editor of Broadcast Sport and Broadcast Tech magazines. This podcast features Jet Omoshebi, senior colourist at Goldcrest, talking about how her working day is changing through the coronavirus crisis.
So at the moment, I'm in the middle of a 6-part series for HBO, and then we have something else coming in directly after that. And then there's also a feature film. So personally, I've got about 11 hours of television and a feature film to finish. I know the rest of the world has slowed down, but I'm actually quite busy still.
And is that with work you started already before the pandemic?
Yes. I mean, we're probably at least 3 months sort of behind the stop. It'll be interesting to see how soon production gets started again and how much of a hole we've got in our year.
And have you had to adapt the way you're working at all at this time?
I mean, yes. This is an international project with some of the execs here and the director, DOP, both being in Denmark. So we've already had a little bit of sort of remote working to have to think about. So all we've really had to do is just take this a little bit further. We are sending things to look at rather than people flying over. And obviously we haven't had the same interaction with VFX and those other departments that we would like, but we're still carrying on. I mean, it hasn't stopped. It's not going as swiftly as it would have. And we've had to slightly adjust people's expectations. Yeah. But we're certainly forging ahead, yes. Yeah.
And are you still having to go to Goldcrest to your grading suite, or are you able to remote work yourself? I'm
not going to come in every day. A lot of the grading has been done. It's now just the VFX grading and the odd notes that are coming in. So we're trying to make sure that we have a good day's work, so that I will come in and I will just do that. And then the rest of the time I'll be at home. I mean, we're not even a skeleton staff anymore. I think there's another person in the building, and just about everyone else has moved off. Obviously, we have a huge amount of security which we have to adhere to in terms of where the footage is and how it gets in and out of the building. All still has to come through our central hub. If we didn't have to adhere to that, then we could possibly all move off-site. But I think we felt security-wise it was safer. And it certainly is better for me to be able to come in and work in my normal calibrated environment.
But technically it is possible to create a remote grading suite at your house and calibrate it correctly?
Totally, yeah. And a lot of people have done it. I would say 80% of our work is in 4K. Right. So we, without compromising resolution or working at proxy resolution or having vast amounts of footage locally, which again brings us into some security issues. We just couldn't kind of think of a way to do it. So at the moment, this is what we're doing, but we're very able to be light on our feet, and we certainly can set up in my living room. The online editor is off-site and just working remotely with me here. And actually that is working surprisingly well. I can certainly get all the sort of prep work done and some VFX dropped in and the timelines updated.
How are you now liaising with your clients, and how are you getting feedback?
They've gone to a facility near where they are to be able to look at a monitor which we can send our calibration figures over to them. So we know that there is some calibration there.
I see.
Going forward, I think there were some interesting things that could be possibly taken from this experience. I mean, I'm sure, in post-production and in all of life, some really interesting, good ways of working will come out of it, I'd love it if it slowed it down a bit. I mean, the expectations that we work under, we have ever more demands really, time-wise, and it's actually been quite nice for everything to kind of slow that down and go, okay, well actually, air dates can be moved, delivery dates can be moved. Obviously we are trying to hit every compelling date possible, but there's just some things that we can't do. quite rightly, is some flexibility around those things. And that's actually really nice to have. So it would be nice if that element stayed. It probably won't, but
yeah, it goes straight back to the franticness of normality, won't it?
It was an amazingly interesting time for us. I think we'd come through the doldrums a little bit, and then a new model had appeared with the streaming companies, and that seemed to be growing with all the new launches, Disney and Apple, and to join Netflix and HBO, and we seemed to be doing a lot more international work, and it just seemed to be an absolutely, great, exciting time. And now it's stopped. I'm sort of very proud of us in a way at the way we have responded. I think there'll be some productions unfortunately won't happen now because of actors availability or directors availability, or something will have changed. I think there might be a lot of things that fall in the wayside. Being light on your feet is really the way to be, and probably has always been the way to be in business, actually. Just being able to adapt to those changes, to be able to scale up and scale down and react to whatever new changes are coming. And I think that, I suspect that has always been the way to succeed in this business, really.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe now, so we've got plenty more where this came from.